I'll just go ahead and begin um, by thanking everybody for welcoming myself and the Loyola Academy community to this space and to this work. Um, I'm Erica Nathan Gamoff. I'm a Spanish teacher here at Loyola Academy. This is my 6th year at Loyola. And we have the excitement of being able to start an Ignatian Global Scholar program on our campus. We have about 2,000 students, and our program is going to be joining two other scholar programs called the Dunbach Scholars and the Clavius Scholars. Dunbach is for humanities and Clavius is for math and science. So this was kind of the brainchild, the need to have an Ignatian Global Scholar program, both a student initiative and one of our former colleagues, Alex DeWitt. The student approached our principal, Mr. Tim Devine, and said, we really need something for social studies, history, and languages. We feel like we're not being represented in the same way as these other two existing scholar programs. And then our colleague, when he moved on, he also expressed the same thing in kind of an exit interview style fashion. So that's kind of where we're entering this. And we acknowledge that it's a bit different than some of the other Ignatian Global Scholar programs on your campuses in that we are starting as an honors program, but that's to kind of complement these two other existing programs that have been around since the 80s for humanities and since 2007 for math and science. Before I start with the slides, I really want to thank so many people on this call who are very generous with their time in the spring and in the summer. And some of you guys, your names look familiar to me, having watched all of your calls this summer. So I'm thankful for the recordings, and I'm so thankful for the generosity in this group because it's made our journey so much easier to learn from you all. So really, this presentation is grounded in please share with us your feedback because we are brand new and you have a lot of experience that we can learn from. We're structuring it in a 3-year program. So this November, the application will go live for our freshmen, and they start the program in their sophomore year. So year one, we're titling Great Minds, and typically students take in their history, social studies, AP or honors, US history. So we are looking at that class and then how can we elevate the curriculum so that they're participating in civic oriented experiences, something to do with the local government. All of our honors scholar programs have small group discussions led by mentors. They meet 2 to 3 times per quarter. And really the message for us in year one of Great Minds is how to center themselves and make them aware of their place and their responsibility in this globally interconnected world. Our team has been reading lots of books and films to establish context. And then, of course, we always have the facilitation of reflection, thanks to our mentors. Year two, we're calling Great Hearts, and that is to appeal to the heart. So start with the mind and then to the heart. And we're hoping that students will, in their small groups, start to refine through research what global challenge is really calling them and what's speaking to them. We'll interlace this with excursions locally. We have a variety of trips that our school already offers that go abroad. I'll share those with you in just a minute. But we're really putting the focus on a sustained local experience where students partner with some of our Arupi service sites and that they go back repeatedly. It's not just a one-time. And then, that's to enable the accompaniment piece and further reflection. And then finally, the year 3 senior year would be Great Hands. That's, of course, the action project that's putting the research into practice, and continued enrollment, of course, all 4 years in AP social studies course, world language, and we are strongly recommending one of our 2 environmental science classes. We have an Ignatian Service Learning course, or we have the AP environmental science course offered on our campus. We're going to help the students, excuse me, carry out their action plan, think global, act local, and then, of course, the presentation to community members, parents, their culminating reflections. And then hopefully, upon successful evaluation, they will receive the certification from Washington, D.C. Can you advance, please? Thanks. So I don't think I need to read this to the people on this call, but of course, we're grounding it in this definition, which just helps us to really be very explicit with our students about the definition of what it means. Next. I want to thank, I think Pete's on the call. This slide, we really appreciated this, and it really resonated with our team. The idea that it's not just us in our small location. There is something more out there, and this program helps our students to realize that. So we're going to start, of course, with them, our school in Wilmette, Illinois, our Chicagoland area, our region, Illinois, our country, US, and the globe. And, the commitment to living out the faith and being a men and women for others. Next, we have the map, which you are all familiar with in JSN, but we want to familiarize our students with that. They might not be aware of how many Jesuit schools there are in the United States and in North America. And then the next one is the banner that we've been able to personalize. So our title is Our Global Reach, Reachy Scholars. We have a brand new website. It's still under construction, but it is live. And then at the bottom, we would want to highlight just how we made it unique to our campus, opening our students' eyes and hearts to the world around them. So our sophomore year, Great Minds, Global Awareness, junior year, Great Hearts, with experiential sustained learning, senior year, Great Hands, the social justice in action. Next slide, please. So we're going to share with them the same thing that you guys have shared with your students. And we're going to start next week to go into different group settings. We have a Bowman First Gen Scholar program that we'll be giving this presentation to. One of my colleagues had the great idea to go into a number of clubs. We have Polish Club, Eastern European Club, all of our different international clubs to let them know, to kind of market our new scholar program. And then we will, without going into too much detail, we'll kind of set the stage for what does it mean to participate in a Global Scholar Certificate program, understanding the idea of the context, your experiences, reflection, action, and evaluation. So we will likely have a drop-down menu so students can see how they can fulfill these 7 of 9 components. I see in the chat, this summer I learned that 52 schools in the JSN offer Global Scholars Program, but I'll let Catherine address that maybe afterward. We'll share with them what the certificate looks like. We do think that's very attractive and appealing. Next slide, please. Our website, which we're happy to share with families. We have an open house coming up. So that's exciting that we're live and we have like an external face for anybody who might have some questions. The next slide has our possible path sequences. We think that when we have parents coming in, all freshmen at Loyola Academy have a one-on-one parent, student, faculty conference. And so we have found that the students and their families really like to kind of see what would a 4-year schedule look like. So you'll see at the top, the language and the social studies departments are featured. And we are very, very blessed to have so many social studies electives offered that would lend themselves, we feel, to this particular work. You can see some of them there: honors, civics, advocacy, etc. In the next, and theology, we have encountering global theologies. So we're very blessed because we are a large Jesuit institution to be able to have lots of course options and let them choose the path that best serves them. I mentioned our meeting next week with our first gen students. We already had a junior high articulation event where our admissions office invites principals from all of our Catholic feeder schools. And so we were able to tell them kind of the theme this year was what's new on campus and Ricci. We were lucky to be featured. We have our open house coming up. One of my teammates, she designed this fun activity. It's primarily 7th and 8th graders attending our open house. So they'll get like a little passport, and different faculty were invited to submit a Ricci reflection. And that's a photo of them abroad and how their time abroad really transformed them. And so we're taking that Ricci reflection idea, and we will eventually display it somewhere in the school. But for our open house, we're going to take the photos, and it's going to be kind of a game where if you can match the picture with the location, then you get a stamp. And we have a couple extra questions. And Station C, the last question is, when is the application due? So that the logistics, so families know. Next slide is, yeah, how we're going to build on what we already offer. Our language department has several immersion trips to China, Costa Rica, England, France. Our classics tour goes to Greece and Italy for 3 weeks every other summer. Our Mexico trip is with the Kino Border Initiative, so that's one of our summer service options. And then every other year, students can go to Spain in spring break. The next slide after this one. Oh, so I see a question that I can answer now. Our immersion trips, so though they're typically 7 days, whether it's in Easter break, spring break, or at the beginning of summer. The China one might be a little bit longer due to the length to get there from Chicago. This past summer, they went to Hong Kong and China. The Kino is about 5, 6 days. So we're going to try to build off of our existing travel programs that we already have in place, which are, ramping up even more post-COVID. We also want to encourage students to take part in some of the global justice opportunities on our campus or abroad, or excuse me, in other parts of the country. So we have a pretty active Pax Christi group. They meet during our lunch and flex time. So encouraging students to get involved in their work, and then to be part of our delegation at the Teach-In for Justice this November. Our Arupe service sites already are in place, and many of them require, or it's encouraged to have some Spanish foundation. So we're really talking a wide range of communities in the Chicagoland area, which is great because we can go north towards Waukegan, we can go to the city for Centro Romero, we can go out to Logan Square for IWS. So it allows students, depending on where they live, to participate at their convenience. Some of these partner institutions we already use with our Ignatian service learning courses. And so we want to be able to continue to utilize those partnerships. This is something new and exciting that we are hoping in the spring to really bring to fruition. And that is, there's a Loyola University Ricci program, and it's a 3-year program, and their student ambassadors might either come to our campus, or we would prefer that we send them over to Rogers Park to their campus, so that our high school students can see what they're doing in terms of research and global civic related work at the collegiate level. So we're really open to feedback, and we thank you all for your time and for listening.
Thank you so much. And there are a couple, I think Erica might rush off because she has class, but I'm sure she'd be very happy if you have questions and directly messaged her. But there are a couple things I just want to say quickly about this beautiful presentation and how they're doing it. Is Ignatian Global Scholars was created to be flexible and adaptable to what works in your school. For example, they're doing this with honor students. That's great. That is what their need was. That is their group of students that this fits. There originally it was written for kind of that regular middle of the road student that just loves signing up for everything. And that is a great fit also. So really it was created to fit what works for you. The same with the travel. Loyola Academy and a lot of your schools have a ton of really amazing trips, local and international and national. Some schools don't, and there isn't that option. It all works. So when you're really looking through the program, and maybe Pete and Trace can talk to this after, but when you start looking through the program and you have those questions, don't let anything stop you. It is created to be a flexible and adaptable to what the reality of your school is. And for the middle school people, I see some of you on, I'm so excited. We are creating, well, a couple people have been part of the process or on an Ignatian global pre-secondary school framework that mirrors Global Scholars, but it is really for the entire school. I'm going to show you two quick slides that Nick Rempage shared. He is at U of D Jesuit, and they're just starting a program. So I want to share these, and I can also add any, if it's okay with the presenters, I can probably share all the slides with everyone. But I thought this was he wasn't able to be here. He's on a Kairos, I think. So it's like, just share our process. This is the process that U of D Jesuit is going through. And then they Trace gets a good shout out. And then they're doing the planning team pulled it together. And I really wanted to show this because and Erica, you worked with a team also, am I correct?
Yeah, we're really lucky to have the school support. We have one team member from the social studies department, one team member teaches Latin, our director of equity and inclusion, Sarah Bennett, who's on the call, and one of our science teachers, Antoinette Warwazin. So we are a team of five, and I'm really thankful that the school is supporting us in that way. I know that many directors are on their own, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and we have found that the most successful is when all the variety of roles are brought in. And for those that are haven't signed up or are still going to be signing up for the Global Perspectives Leaders in Seattle, we're having breakout sessions for pretty much each of these different team areas because all of your voices are global perspectives. So it's how does it all work together? And I'm rushing a little because we have so many presentations today. And so as Global Scholars started getting going, we worked with Seattle University, and Ben Howe is on this call and is going to share a presentation with you about a pilot course that with a group of you that are participating and Seattle University put together a pilot course that complements your Ignatian Global Scholars. And then I'll let him speak to it, but you earn university credit. Ben, I'm going to pass it to you and let
Okay,
you
great.
just take it from here. And you should be able to share your screen if you would like to. You don't have to.
Yes, I do. I have a screen to share with you all in a second, but I just first of all wanted to say hello and thanks for having me and inviting me, Catherine. It's nice to be here. That presentation from Erica was really fun to see how the curriculum gets scaffolded out of Jesuit High School. So thanks for that. A little bit about me. I'm a philosophy professor, but I'm also the academic administrator of the Matteo Ricci Institute, which for about 40 plus years has been doing innovative work with Jesuit high schools and local Catholic high schools. I'm going to share my screen in just a second here with a few details of the course that we have developed, but I've kept it really brief because I really want to respond to any questions that you might have. As you'll see in just a second, this is going to be the second year of our pilot course, and we've already learned a few really interesting and surprising things from last year's course, so please ask questions. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now and pipe up if you cannot see this. It does not look as beautiful as Erica's presentation. Okay. So here's just a little bit about the course context. Can you all see this? Actually, here, let me move you all out of the way. Just good? Thumbs up? Yes.
Yes, we can see.
So yes, this is the second year of our pilot course. This is an online course and it's asynchronous, meaning that the students or that the professor records lectures and uploads these to Canvas and has drop boxes for all of the assignments, but then does meet with the students individually during virtual class hours. So it's asynchronous, but still there is quite a bit of one-on-one contact with the professor. It was developed on the Canvas platform. I'm not sure if anybody here on the call uses Canvas, but Canvas is a very common learning platform at universities. So we think that one of the benefits that students get from taking a course like this, that is it also introduces them to the higher ed, ecosystem and using things like Canvas, and also using our databases in the university. Um, so yeah, unless if I'm wrong here, correct me, Catherine. This does contribute to a global scholar certificate requirement, correct? Okay, great.
Yes, yeah.
Um, and we're opening this course to both juniors and seniors. We're requesting that they have a 3.0 cumulative GPA. But one thing I want to emphasize here is that we want this course for any student who is interested. In our experience, some of the biggest success stories that we've had come from students who take a college class while they're in high school if they're a little bit nervous about attending a four-year institution, but their high school counselors think that they're up for the task. So we really don't want this only to be for your top students. We think that some of your students who might have quite a bit of intellectual curiosity around this topic, but also might be a little nervous about university, this course might serve them the best. So now here's just a little bit more about the course. Um, yeah, so it's developed in conjunction between the Matteo Ricci Institute, which houses our Ignatian humanities programs, and our Department of International Studies. Um, and so from the humanities side, there's quite a bit of Ignatian pedagogy in the course. The professor has done a lot of work in discernment, has a lot, well, knows the Jesuit community on our campus quite well. So there is that Ignatian flavor to the course, but she's also a scholar in international studies. So it's sort of a both and there. Um, I would say that the one of the major goals of this course is to introduce students to academic steps that they can take to gain cultural competencies so that when they are working with vulnerable populations and accompanying people who are struggling on the margins, that they do it from a place of respect. So that's also one of the reasons why we have a professor from the International Studies Department who's done a ton of ethnographic field research. I can get to that a little bit later too. Um, there are a lot of combinations of assignments in the classes. There are some interviews. There's also some qualitative research projects. There's also personal statements. And this isn't on my document here, but the professor is really keen on helping students hone their personal statements because we also know that many of your students who would be taking this class are probably preparing personal statements for admission to college or their applications. We've got a great textbook for the course. We've also using some Catholic text and some Jesuit text specifically. Just a lot of academic scholarship in the course that you would expect from a university course. So yeah, let me rave about the professor here. So Serena Cosgrove, is a graduate of Seattle Prep, graduate of Seattle University too as well. Knows Father Chepe quite well at the UCA, has done tons of field work in Latin America. This is one of those neat opportunities where the professor of the course is a player in the field, and students aren't required to read any of her research, but it is an option. And personally, I always loved the opportunity when I was a college student to take courses by experts in the field because I thought it was so nice to have the opportunity during office hours just to ask them a little bit about their research. I mean, you know, I don't know, maybe your students are different, but I would suspect that many of these students have never had an opportunity to sit down with a working anthropologist and actually ask them how they do their work. It might be exciting for them. Okay, I've got a few enrollment details and then I will stop sharing my screen and just answer your questions. So the enrollment period is from December 2nd to the 13th. The cost of the course is $475. The course runs from January 7th to April 22nd. And all of these students would be earning 5 quarter system credits. Um, these credits show up on a college transcript just like any transfer credits would. I mean, the transcript that they would receive from the course upon successful completion is indistinguishable from any other college, transcript. However, I need to say this, it's up to every university to decide whether they accept transfer credits or not. I think there are a few out there that don't. I went to an undergraduate institution that took no AP credits, no matter how well I did on the tests. It probably helped my admission to the place, but I didn't earn any credits. So I just full disclosure there. I will say this though, based on the feedback we've received, we are not aware of any university that has refused these credits. So let's leave it there. And yeah, that's all I have for right now. I would love to answer your questions.